everyone, this is Victoria and you're watching Tales of Insanity. It's been a while since I've visited this channel. I promised to make more videos, but then I just disappeared, so sorry if you were waiting for them. But I'm finally ready to get back, and today I'm gonna tell you about how my first year at university studying psychology went. I remember when I was deciding whether to study psychology at university or not, I was also Googling and YouTubing information from other students who'd like to study and people who could give me some more information about what the studies are like and whether this is the right thing to do. So I hope that this video will also be of use to someone who's still undecided or is just willing to validate his or her decision to study. First of all, I want to talk about some misconceptions that are very common when people decide to study psychology or that they're kind of interested in going that way. And the first thing that is really popular is that students who go to study psychology, that they just want to find out more about themselves and kind of like therapize themselves, but this is a big no. First of all, studying psychology at university is not therapy. Nobody's going to therapize you there, and you're going to get loads of theoretical and practical information. Yes, you will be able to somehow apply it to your life or maybe even your problems, but no one's going to do this for you specifically. No one's gonna teach you to help yourself. So you are going to just find out how to help other people, you know? So if you're looking for a way to help yourself and you're in some bad place, what you need is to go to therapy. And actually, if you're going to study psychology and become a clinical psychologist, for example, or a therapist, you will have to go to therapy for sure at some point, and you will spend a lot of time there. Then the second point is willingness to help people. Of course, if you will be a clinical psychologist, you will be helping people. But if this is your only reason and your only motivation to become a psychologist because you have some kind of a mission to save the world, you know, then this is gonna go pretty bad for you, and I'll explain why. Therapy is not some kind of easy magical trick. It's not like a person comes to a therapist and 1-2 sessions and the problem is solved. This doesn't happen, and if it did, then I think there would no longer be such a profession as psychologists or therapists, because it would be just too easy. Of course, you have to want to help people if you're going to become a psychologist or a therapist, but if it's your only motivation, it will be really hard, because if you've ever been to therapy yourself, you know that it doesn't take 1 or 2 sessions for most of the problems, because we live with them most of our lives, with some schemes in our head, with some logic that we use, and of course, to change stuff that we've used for decades, it just takes time. So you can't expect your clients to be cured magically after 1 or 2 sessions, and you might get demotivated if you are just waiting for it to happen and not enjoying the process itself, if you know what I mean. Then another misconception is that people go to study psychology because it's just an easy thing to study. I mean, you just read some books, talk about life, and that's all. Well, no. Studying psychology is not a place you should go for an easy choice. Actually, I don't even know where you should go if you want to, you know, have an easy student life, but that's a topic for another video. So why psychology is not the choice for easy studying is you're not going to study only books. You will have to study statistics, genetics, biology. You will have to do research. You will have to learn to read research, to make research, to understand it. So it's not just like an easy thing to do, you know? Of course, maybe if we compare it to some other subjects, it might be not that hard as, I don't know, physics, but that's just for me, or like chemistry. But it's not easy too. Okay, so now let's talk about a few moments that will really help you on the way to studying psychology. And the first one is being interested in how the brain works and in the human psyche in general. You will be studying that a lot. And if you remember yourself Googling about those things, you know, watching videos about it, reading books, and all that's really interesting and fascinating for you, then most probably all the subjects that I mentioned before will not be too hard for you and won't be too boring for you either, because For example, for me, it was a surprise that I actually enjoyed studying biology. I sucked at biology at school. I actually knew nothing, but thanks to our biology teacher at university, I actually finally understood a lot of things, and it's helped me in my daily life as well, because I now know what happens in the brain during different kind of activities and why am I actually feeling stuff that I'm feeling. So it's really useful, and if you feel like you might enjoy studying that in depth with all the terminology, then you'll be fine. Then one other thing is, how to put it, feeling fulfilled after communication. So this is kind of difficult to explain because I consider myself to be more introverted than extroverted. I'm really friendly and outgoing around people I know, around my friends, but I'm kind of pretty shy with people that I don't know. So it was kind of getting out of my comfort zone when we studied communication skills and did a lot of practical activities related to communication. But in the end, I realized that I actually enjoy it, and I actually love this feeling that you get after real communication, after active listening, after truly trying to understand a person, even if his opinion is very different from yours. So my point is, if you always feel pretty low after communicating with people and you don't get the energy from it, it will be pretty difficult for you to study because you will have to talk a lot and you will have to listen a lot. And in the profession itself too. The last point is enjoy reading. You see, I got a lot of books there. They're not all psychology related, and I've been an avid reader for all my life. So it was pretty easy for me, but there were people who didn't really enjoy the studies because we had to read a lot, and a lot of the texts are not very easy to read. They are scientifically written by very smart people and by researchers. So if you even don't like the process of reading, it will be pretty hard for you because most of the knowledge that you can get about psychology, like in-depth knowledge, is by reading books and articles, research, etc. So now that we've gotten through the part where I help you hopefully decide whether psychology is for you or not, I also want to share my personal experience. I studied psychology my first year at the University of Latvia in the capital of Latvia, Riga, and it's really hard for me to say whether it's a good program or not because I don't have anything to compare it to. But as far as I've studied the subjects, they are really similar to all other universities that offer psychology studies in Europe, at least European Union. So I think that if you're somewhere in Europe, then my experience might be very useful for you. So first I want to mention a few drawbacks that I noticed, and the first one is lack of real communication, but that was actually during the pandemic only. We had all our subjects, all our tests, all our lectures, seminars, everything was online, and of course it's also great partly because you don't have to go anywhere, you save time on traveling, and I actually think I made a video about distance learning before, so you can just look for it in the links to this video. I will leave a link there. And yeah, but still, you know, we're future psychologists and we're supposed to communicate more and we're supposed to learn to communicate more. And of course, talking to people just in chats and sometimes, you know, making presentations online is not really a good way to learn communication. So I hope that next year, which is in September, we will finally get out of our homes and at least partly we will study not online, but see each other face to face and see our teachers, communicate more, understand each other more, and gain this true student life experience. Then the second thing that I've written down for myself to remember as a drawback is that some teachers didn't really commit fully, but I guess this happens everywhere. So I can't say that the majority of teachers didn't commit. There were some. That's fine, I guess, because it can't be perfect, you know? Everywhere there's someone who won't do their job perfectly. And here it was really sad because there were some subjects that I actually liked. I mean, the topics that were discussed there, but the manner the teachers used to teach us was kind of boring, you know. So I actually enjoyed reading on my own more than listening to the lectures, and that was pretty sad. But mostly it was fine. So most of the teachers were really good at what they were doing, and I can't say anything bad about them. And now about the advantages of the studies. And the first one is study materials. Most of the study materials were in English. For some people, it was a drawback because there were a few people who studied English a long time ago and they're pretty bad at it. They can't understand it, and it was really difficult for them to read materials or listen to materials in English. But for me, it was a big plus because my English skills are, I think, a little bit better than my Latvian skills, so it was easier for me. Also, what I think is amazing, that we not only read materials, we didn't have only written materials, but we also listened to podcasts, we watched videos like TED Talks or other scientific videos, and it's really great that we had a lot of types of content to absorb, you know, because sometimes you just get so tired of reading. No matter how much you love to read, sometimes your eyes are just tired and your brain is just tired to receive information in that way. So it was great to switch to other types of content and just listen to materials and do something around the house while you're doing it. So, and the last point that I'd like to mention is that thanks to all the content, all the subjects, all the input that our professors put into their subjects and into us, I actually feel a lot more confident about writing or talking about psychology in my daily life. For example, when I just started this vlog, I didn't want to make psychological content because I felt that I'm too immature for that. I don't know anything, like, at all, and who can be interested in what I have to say about psychology when there are real psychologists talking about it? But now I actually feel that I know a lot more and I have a lot more to share, and I also can use it when I'm talking to my friends or my family. I mean, not by psychologizing them or therapizing them, but just by explaining stuff that I learned to them. And they're like, wow, I actually never thought about this. And this is a great feeling that I can use my studies by helping those around me in this kind of educational way and boost their interest in psychology too. For example, my mom reads a lot of books that I give her about psychology, and it's awesome that we can discuss it later. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so this will be it for today. I probably missed some stuff, but anyway, if you have any questions about psychology studies or my own experience or any doubts about whether to go study psychology or not, you can leave comments and I will definitely talk to you and reply to you and let you know what I think. Please don't forget to leave likes, comments, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in my next videos. Take care, love yourself, and bye!